Live from the Washington, D.C. area, all empowered citizens need to know about intelligent use of resources, smart governance, inclusive communities, smart industry, and healthy, thriving urbanization. This is Smart Sustainability, the TV talk about shaping a sustainable future in the digital age with Nicolette DeVidar. No one questions that education plays a major role in how we master our lives. Most parents want to give their kids the best education they possibly can and put their children on their best footing in life. In recent years, education, certainly our education system, has faced structural issues that are closely tied to the fast pace of change the whole world finds itself in right now. With technology rolling in faster and faster, there is also a need for people to learn quicker, adapt faster, learn better, and adapt to changing markets and develop different skills. The classic education model that practically goes back to the Prussians, where people were trained to become followers without questions to operate most efficiently in assembly lines, is no longer fit for a digital world. Hyper-connected day-to-day lives and markets that changing faster than ever. Product cycles are much shorter. There is more trial and error to get a product to the market, and how and what we consume has changed inside out. The new landscape has different demands and needs a better connected, faster reacting ecosystem between industry, academia, and students itself. Today's economy, based on a digital mode of working, has other needs in soft skills and hard skills. So, education in need of reinventing itself. What can it look like? Where are the biggest opportunities, perhaps, for academia, industry, and students in this transforming economic landscape? And what does that mean for America, for student affordability, and perhaps even our own dreams? Our topic tonight. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nicolette DeVidar. Education isn't the same anymore that it was even only 5 to 7 years ago. And not just in view of curricula and all the political agendas that somehow made their way into what's being taught or what's being left out. But the economy also has different demands. We're looking at an almost completely changed economic landscape, from what employees look for in a job, why people work, to what employers need and actually how we work. Even the understanding and meaning of work itself has changed over the years. So how have universities kept up with this change? Well, the classic institutions start looking into these, and many entrepreneurs, or some entrepreneurs, are taking matters head on and come up with new approaches that are adapted to the times, demand and supply, and needs of people and companies. And they do so with great success. One of these is Washington University of Science and Technology. So we want to talk about the different approach, the role of entrepreneurship, and the different skill sets that are needed going forward. We have a full round of guests today, actually 5 altogether, but I want to start with my first guest tonight on a one-on-one interview, the President and Chancellor of Washington University Science and Technology, Mr. Abubakar Hanif, who's also the founder of People and Tech, a global leader in skill development, job placement, and consulting. And then in the second segment, we bring in all the guests and make it a really big round. Thank you so much for being with us, Mr. Hanif, tonight.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Great. So you are a very accomplished entrepreneur. How does someone who's become such a successful entrepreneur with People and Tech, and I think you offer a range of services with that company, right? From, I think, recruiting to placement and all other things. Why did you get into education in the first place?
Thank you very much. Actually, I came to this country after finishing my degree in electrical and electronic engineering degree. And then I finished my master's degree in computer science, and I did not get job right away, because that time I was looking for entry-level job like others. Then I had to work on the skill development, like that kind, some kind of like Java, Oracle DBA, Sun Solaris certification, all those courses, and then I got a job, and that was actually a mid-level job. Then I thought finding a job is easy, but maybe people doesn't know that. So I invited all of my friends who was still looking for a job, and then I helped them develop their skill sets and help them getting a job. That's when People and Tech Institute for Information Technology born. And through People and Tech, it's like a fully skill development, and more than 8,000 people I provided job to. The companies like American mainstream, and they were making like $100,000 to $200,000 per year, where they were looking for $60,000 per year. So one of the things I saw when people graduate from this country, like bachelor degree or master degree, they look for entry-level job. And the reason they look for entry-level job because they have academic knowledge and degree. They don't have skill or industry knowledge. To work in the industry in the mid-level position, they need to have skill and industry knowledge. So I thought that if I can put those things in the bachelor degree and master degree course curriculum and creating the replica of work environment into the classroom settings, that could be better, like creating the ecosystem between industry and academia. So then since I did not have any university, I approached some of the university that I think why not we put skill development in their last year. Like let's say for the bachelor degree students, skill development can be put in the 4th year, and then master degree in their last year. But then I did not get any response from the university. Then I thought maybe, well, why not I have my own university? So when I was looking for that opportunity, and it's not easy getting the accreditations and all others, it takes 8 to 10 years. So I thought,
was actually going to ask you about this because when you come from an entrepreneur where you're used to doing everything really fast, right?
Yes.
You have an idea and you go really like this, and you suddenly are confronted with academia where everything has a much different rhythm. How were you dealing with that?
It's wonderful because I have a mission, vision, and then model. I want to establish that model. Let's say someone I saw that by the time a student finished their bachelor degree and master degree, they have $60,000 to $100,000 student loan. With that, when they look for entry-level job, then definitely that leads them to frustration. So I thought that maybe there should be a solution. And then in USA, every year, US government are bringing 85,000 skilled workers from all over the world through H-1B. Whereas our citizens and green card holder with their bachelor degree and master degree, they are struggling to get entry-level job. So there are some gap. I thought that maybe that needs to be there should be a solution for that. And then another thing, as a CEO of a company or hiring authority of a company, HR manager of a company, when you are hiring entry-level people, so you are putting 6 months to 1 year of your investment, like you are engaging your resources, you are paying the salary, and one fine morning you invent that employee leaves you because of the better opportunity, because he's or she's ready.
Right?
So then that will lead you to frustration too. As a result, you will see Monostar, Dice, Career Builder, not even single entry-level job opportunities are there. So it means those are problem. So I thought that putting skill and then industry knowledge into the bachelor degree and master degree curriculum, that could be helpful, so that students look for instead of entry-level job, they can look for mid to senior level job. So that is our mission, and with Washington University of Science and Technology, we are fulfilling on that, because we are giving return on investment to the student. And one of the most important thing is to do that. You need to have faculty member. They should be both scholar plus practitioner.
Yeah, and actually that's a point, because when you mentioned even how you got into education, So it's really the classic approach. You got to be an entrepreneur to see it, because you
Yes.
have to see the opportunity,
Yes.
right? And you
Yes.
saw an opportunity because you experienced it.
Yes.
So you come from a field, you say, wait a minute, so the gap doesn't match up. So we need to kind of fill the gap and really make that, bring something onto the market that help with them. Let's talk a little bit about the entrepreneurship for a moment, because did you always know that you were becoming an entrepreneur?
No, I did not, but I always have a mindset to help others. When I see someone is struggling, I always wanted to help other people. So once I was, because when I got job, right, that time when I was inviting my other friends to get help, it was free of cost. So I was helping them. And then I thought that it is serving people, right? So that's when I started. And then now I thought that maybe if I work for some company, only I will be serving only, one company. But if I can help other people, then that way I can change many people's life.
So this is your definition of entrepreneurship then?
Of
you
course.
help other people. It's really service driven.
Definitely,
Yeah.
we need to help other people so that
Right.
they, you need to serve so many people, not only one or two on one particular company, right? So in that way, that even though when you are not there, your model, if it works, it can help so many other people also. So this is what you need to do, something special for other people, so that they can be benefited out of that.
So when you told your wife, for example, that you were going to build your own university, what was her reaction at first?
Well, she was with me from the very beginning when we had People and Tech Institute is 19 years old.
Yeah.
So all 19 years she was with me. But at the very beginning she was a little bit reluctant, but when she saw that I was very adamant to help other people, then she joined and then she enjoyed. And then this is how we cherish it, and we see that, okay, well, changing other people and helping other people, there is different kind of satisfaction, and we enjoy it, and she's with me.
When you look at your work, what are you most proud of? So when you see what you're doing, would we really say this is what I'm really most proud of having done that?
Let's say some people in this country, definitely, right? When I see that someone was struggling to get $50,000 without bachelor degree, master degree, some people came from different countries, right? And as an immigrant, and they were doing some odd job. They did not even dream to make $60,000 per year. Now they have opportunity to make $160,000. So it's like different, because we are changing people's life and lifestyle, and then they are changing other people also. And that is my total satisfaction, actually.
So when you came to the United States, why did you come to the US in the first place?
Well, that was my long cherished dream, that I will have my own, higher degree from here, and this is the best country, right? And when I just finished my bachelor degree, that's when I came here and did my master degree. And I made the right decision, actually, because I would say the sky is not the limit.
So you live the American dream.
Of course.
And
I enjoyed
that's
it.
also what you want to instill a little bit in the students? Because you mentioned the dream a couple times.
That's what I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Like, let's say, I provided job to more than 8,000 people, right? And at least 50 of my students following me. They have now their own skill development center, and that way they are helping other people also. So it's like same things, and this is how I want to do. Like the university that I have right now, I'm just creating the model so that each and every student get job, like mid to senior level job. So if it is, so then this is a model, and other university can follow this model so that other student can benefit out of that. Means, confirming, ensuring the return on investment of the student.
Yeah, and I think that's really a key point. So now at this point, I would like to bring in the other guests, now that we can talk a little bit about the model and then really dive in and see sort of what's different and how do students see that and how do they get their return on investment.
Definitely.
All right. And in this second segment, for the third and the fourth, actually, we're going through the big round. I'd like to introduce my other guest. I have with me Dr. Hassan Karaberg. He's president of Washington University of Science and Technology. I have Dr. Mark Robinson, who's director of the School of Business. I have Rachel Rose. She's manager of Student Success and Career Service. And I have Celine Yigitz, president of Students Government Association, in, of course, addition to the chancellor and the chairman of the Washington University of Science and Technology, Mr. Hanip, who we had in the previous segment.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on. So we spoke, just to give you all a little bit of an update, a little bit about why Mr. Hanip had founded WUST. And we talked a little bit about a different model. So in this part, I want to look a little bit more, what does this different model look like? When I went to the website, it said that the Washington University of Science and Technology has a really interesting credo, creating an ecosystem between industry and academia. So, Dr. Karaberg, I'm going to ask you that. What kind of ecosystem are we talking about?
Well, that's a good question. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting us. I think this is a good opportunity, not only, I guess, for us to share what we've been doing about education with the things that you said earlier. Traditional education is dying down because the focus is on skill development, whatever, but also for the local community to assess that there are opportunities, there are different things in this area so that they can easily come and ask for an advice. So back to your question, what we mean by creating an ecosystem between academia and industry is actually we have what we call program advisory committees. So program advisory committee creates a systematic channel to collect feedback from the industry. So these industry people, they're either business owners or entrepreneurs or mid to senior level manager in their businesses. So we bring them back to the campus. We have meetings twice a year. And this program advisory committee that I said, it is school specific. Dr. Robinson, for example, probably will discuss more. He has specific PAC meeting in his school, and then we have School of Information Technology. School of Information Technology has also specific PAC meeting. So we have these industry experts there. They're not our academic people. They're totally industry experts. They come there, they share the new trends, emerging trends in industry, and then our team, then they go back to the Petri dish, the drawing board, to make sure that we address those emerging trends in industry so that the skills that we're giving students, it will remain relevant after the graduation.
And this, I think, is actually one of the major points, right?
Yeah.
Because in the old, pardon if I say that, but in the traditional education system up to this point, it was more like this long-term outlook. You knew when you went to a bachelor school or a graduate degree, undergraduate or graduate, you had like your 3-4 year curriculum. It was laid out in the long term, and because we still had careers that were like 20 years in one track, now we don't have that anymore.
Absolutely.
And this and the markets change so fast that people need different skills. But here's one major thing though, how can you adapt so quickly to a change of skills when they come to you twice a year and they say these are the new trends? That seems to me like it really needs to go like this.
Okay, well, that's easy. For us, very easy. Reason why, because in our university, to qualify to teach, you have to have minimum 4 years of industry experience.
Okay, so they're all practitioners.
So therefore, as chairman was trying to explain earlier, our faculty members, they're scholar practitioners.
Yes.
Okay, so they have to be scholar. In other words, they have to have the requisite education to be qualified to teach.
Yeah.
Plus, they have to have minimum 4-year industry experience in the field so that they can marry these two emerging things in the classroom. And then with the feedback, systematic feedback from the industry, then we're able to tailor the teaching, make sure that these relevant skills are given to the student at the right time so that by the time they graduate, they already know what is in the industry.
Basically, I can add something like when a student gets job, like as an entry-level job, they will be learning from their colleague and then from the environment. We create the replica of work environment into the classroom settings, and then our professors would be their colleague. So it means they will be learning from here. whatever they will be learning from the classroom.
So it's really also like reflecting what's going on in the industry. A lot of
Absolutely,
the trial
absolutely.
and error in
Exactly.
the new tech world, basically, where you bring a
Exactly.
product
I
on the
can
market.
add one
right?
more point to that. All those master's program that we have, they have what we call Capstone courses. That's the final course. That's the last course that they have to finish. So that Capstone course itself is a project-oriented course. So they assume a role, hypothetical role. Let's say you're finishing human resource management, right? So you're taking a hypothetical role in a company as a mid-level human resource guy and trying to address the issues. So it's a simulation of workplace at the academic setting.
So like let's say for Java, it's a programming language. So traditional university, when a student learn from Java, they will be learning syntax and little programming. But when they were given to develop the application, they couldn't. But in our system, they will be developing the application through the Java. So whenever they will be going to the job, the similar things they will be doing. So it's a real-time project-oriented way.
So this is really kind of like merging off a previous trainee program, I suppose, right away to the classroom where you actually kind of learn it. You get your education full course, plus you also have the actual hands-on training on the job.
Right, and
Plus also we are helping a student to get their vendor certifications. So that is also helpful. So in that way they are getting the industry certifications as well.
Vendor certification?
Yeah, let's say Microsoft.
Okay.
Microsoft certification.
I'm sure you heard about these micro-credentials.
Yes.
Micro-credentials.
That's
Yes.
exactly what he is referring
Okay.
to. Yeah.
What kind of programs? I know you do a business program. You have a
Cybersecurity.
security.
And IT.
And IT.
Yes.
Those are the main three, or are there more?
Those are the main three. Yes.
Now, do the business programs, do they cover, Dr. Robinson, all classic business, the typical
Right.
business
Yes, we do cover.
subjects?
Yeah, we do cover the typical subjects: leadership and management, project management, IT, human resources, and what we have to keep an eye on through our PAC meetings and following the industry is that we have to keep current. So, we're planning to do, for example, a STEM MBA program, which involves data analytics or climate change or risk management. And in a traditional...
I was going to ask you about sustainability, if there are any programs about sustainability. After all, this is smart sustainability, so.
That's right, and hopefully in that program we'll get a lot of, bring in some new professors who are working in those industries now, so they can lend their industry experience into the classroom.
Now, from the student perspective, we talked a little bit, and I think that's probably one of the major advantages and key differences, right? That you actually are totally up to date on all the skills that you can apply when they leave the school, the university. They literally can, so to speak, pick their feet up and run in a job, right?
Absolutely, that's the idea.
Is this what you generally hear from companies that you're working with when you place students there? What's the feedback?
Yeah, we get a lot of positive feedback from the companies where we place students. We have students that we place while they are currently in school doing work that relates back to their program, and internships and part-time and full-time jobs. And so we work closely with those companies to get those students placed. And the feedback we get back from both the students and the companies is that it's positive, that they're able to adapt quickly to whatever needs the company has. And the companies find a great benefit from it and want students to continue to come and be placed. So overall, it seems like a model that's worked very well in that sense.
Now, I would assume that the university is very close in contact with companies, and you kind of start the whole trajectory, like helping them with finding internships and finding summer jobs and things like that.
Yes, so for our career service department, we first give them all the tools that they need in order to find a job. So we're helping them develop their resume, get together their whole personal brand package so that they're able to market themselves as a potential employee that's going to benefit the company. So we'll help them with all of those services, and then we hold a job fair every term to introduce the students to go and meet companies face to face. So it's less of an application that's going through a computer system and more so being able to network and make those relationships with people that are in the industry and find jobs that way. So in addition to our relationship with companies, we want to make sure that the students have all the tools that they need in order to go find a job and succeed.
Now, in terms of the companies, I know you're strategically so location-wise, you're right on Route 7, and we're almost near the tech corridor here. So, are most of the companies that you're working with from the tech sector, or are they kind of dispersed?
So we try to have both. We do have a larger IT program, so working heavily with tech companies and IT recruiters and the like, but also trying to get students that are in our business program opportunities where they're able to go and apply those skills in other industries.
Well, DC is actually a great market right now because there are so many companies that have actually located here, right?
Washington, D.C. area is a truly impressive area to be working in, living in. We have the business sector, the government contracting sector. It's just a huge area for lots of opportunities for our students, whether they choose the School of IT or the School of Business.
Absolutely. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit more about how it fits into the landscape. I'll get you in a moment. So let's talk about first how does actually, when you look at the WUST, so it started originally in 2008, you said, right?
Yes.
Under Global University,
Yes.
and then it kind of morphed into the Washington University of Science and Technology. When you look at the overall education landscape, where do you see it sort of fit in? Is it like, does it fit sort of like in a certain, like if you had to position it, where would you put it in there? So if I were to, for example, someone who would look for a school, and I look at the legacy schools, I look at the usual upfront runners and things like that, where would you put Washington University of Science and Technology sort of in the landscape?
I can piggyback on a few things Chairman said earlier. So as a private school, you have to be successful to survive.
Major point.
Okay. So therefore, not only that you have to focus on your own return on investment, but you have to, as he said, you have to focus on also whether you're making your client their return, their investment worthy of return. Okay, so that's what we need to focus on. So the area that we position ourselves, again, back to this notion that we have to be successful. Our success is a function of students getting jobs. So we're laser focused on job placement. Okay, so if students are getting job, we're successful. If students are not getting job, we're not successful.
Yeah, so you really are tied to, you need ambitious students who know the
Exactly.
way, and you need
so the
who want
whole
to succeed,
design,
right?
the whole educational delivered design, content, assessment, entry, whatever, everything is based on this notion. If students are getting job, we're successful. If they're not getting job, we're failing. So to be able to survive, we have to be successful. And then to do that, we have to be also innovative. That means we have to know what are the struggles out there, and then how can we quickly resolve that issue and present as an opportunity. So therefore, we are laser focused on skill, because today's education is really deviating from the traditional classical education to the more of a skill focused based education. Therefore, these industries now, they have, some universities, they have more than 50 micro-credentials. So traditional degrees are dying.
Yes.
Micro-credentials are coming up.
Yes, they are.
So therefore, we have to transition that smoothly to the thing that is more relevant with the industry, because the generation, Gen Z, they're not school-bound kids. They want to get a few skills and then be able to go in and do some job and earn money. That's it. That's what they focus. They're not interested in adding 4 years and then go to go get a bachelor's degree or whatever, and then see what happens after that. No, and whole industry is shifting. So therefore, we have to be innovative. And then the niche that we found is that job placement. How can we improve job placement? Skill development. That's our niche.
Much faster.
So, for example, not everyone, when they graduate from high school, they are going to MIT, Harvard, Stanford. Most of the students are going to community college for 2 years. And then after that, not everyone 100% are going for 4-year college, right?
Yeah.
So what we do in our school, we focus on skill development from the very beginning. As a result, once they will be finishing one package actually in the course, they will have opportunity to start for the job, look for the job. For example, we have master degree, right? In the master degree, there are 12 subjects. With that 12 subject, we have 3 packages, where one package combined with 4 micro-credentials. So 3 certificates, graduate certification package. If one finish only one, then that individual, that student will have opportunity to go and get the job. But even though they are not enrolling with our master degree, if they finish our one of the package, they can get the job, and when they can come back to finish their degree also. So basically from the very beginning, our target is to prepare students so that they can be a contributor from the first day of their job. And this is the reason he said that our president says that we need to be innovative, and we are.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And certainly we're not our goal is not to turn out students who will go on to get a PhD, right? That may be one way that we're different than your traditional college. Again,
Exactly.
all the
Yeah.
placement is on students getting jobs.
Yeah,
We're not a
it's-
research institution. but
Yeah,
rather
it's
we're-
very
yeah,
pragmatic.
we're-
It's,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
the ecosystem between industry and academia,
That's what
right?
that's where the shift
Yeah.
is now.
Now, do students generally know what's expected of them, and do they? What's the main reason you hear? I mean, you're part of the student association. What's the main reason when you look at around your peers, so to speak? Why do they go to that university or on that track?
Okay, so firstly, Student Government Association is the bridge between students and administration. And for us, motivation and engagements are very important, because being motivated is helping students to achieve their goal. So as we have close relationship with the students, and we are listening them whenever we have chance, we are listening students, and we are taking their ideas, and they also think we have good education, we have very nice professors, and the administration always support us to motivate students. So that's the reason.
So, what is the admission process normally? Would they reach out to, who do they reach out first? Do they go through the normal admissions office? Do they reach out to the Student Government Association to ask some questions too? I mean, I did. I know that. I went
can
to
chime
private
in
school.
on
I
that.
did that.
Yeah, so our application admission process is all online, so you don't have to reach out to anyone unless you really need someone to give you some critical advice, like for
Yeah.
example, hey, I'm coming from India, I don't know what to do,
Right.
so I might need some help with visa processes and things like that. Well, unless you have that kind of challenges, the rest is pretty standard. So you submit your online application, it falls into our CRM, and then we have admission team about 8, 9, all right, Rachel?
Yeah, around that.
So then they sort of like take a slab at different group, undergrad rep, graduate representative, and then they have also delineation between business and IT. So they take on each lead and they communicate. And then admission standards are very easy to meet, in other words, so you have to submit your application, and then we need to see, for example, if you're coming for master's degree, you have to have a bachelor's degree, then we need to see your transcript. Then if you're an international student, you have to have some additional requirement for the visa, F1 visa. Things other than that, it's pretty straightforward. As Dr. Robbins said, we're not a
Plus
research institution.
also, we are very affordable. Like in this region, or competitive schools and all others, you can talk with affordability.
Oh yeah, well, since
Yeah.
since inception, the university. Well, this is my second time there as the president, so I had little hiccups. I had to go in and came back after he took over the ownership.
Yeah.
Our modus operandi was based on this 3A: accredited, affordable, and accessible. So universities, since inception, it's been accredited. First time we received accreditation was 2011, and then we subsequently had the renewal, then we transitioned from one accredited to another one. It's always been, school has always been accredited, so we never sort of like gave student less than accredited degree so far. So that's our number one responsibility towards the public in general, right? because you pay money. So basically, you have to pay money to something that is worthy, right? Otherwise, you don't pay money for it. The second thing is affordability. So we offer, not only that we have probably the most affordable tuition in this area, but we also offer multiple scholarship and multiple tuition assistant program. We have scholarship based on academic merit, that is true, but then we have 7 different tuition assistant programs based on, let's say, your socioeconomic situation, or if you have some skill, let's say you're a good pianist or a good soccer player or football player, you have some professional, I don't know, registered badge somewhere that shows that you have some talent. So we give scholarship to these different talented individuals as well. The accessibility is something that we're very proud of. By that, what I mean is that, let's say, being a career-focused university, naturally, our clients are working busy adults, right? So the working busy adults, they're on a tight schedule already. They have work demand, they have family demand, they have that demand. Some parents are full-time parents, some students. So for them, it becomes very difficult to commit on-campus study. So we have online. You can complete literally any program 100% online. You don't even need to come to campus. Then we have a hybrid modality. If we close by the campus, or if you want to come every Saturday and attend the classes, you can do. Or the third option is traditional. You can really come and then become full online student. So that way we are able to cater different need bases.
So because of that, like surprisingly, students are coming from different prestigious university. Like this quarter, one student came from Harvard University, Princeton University, George Washington University, Georgetown University, George Mason University, University of Dallas at Texas, University of Michigan, and they are happy. And this is what we are doing because of affordability, plus also skill development and education, quality of education.
I would say the other difference that we offer that I think we're all very proud of is our customer service. When you go to a big university, it could be 30, 40,000 students, and probably your professor does not know, maybe they know your name. At our school, we take a lot of pride in knowing where our students come from, what their backgrounds are, and we talk to them, we get to know them so that we see them in the hallways, that we call them by name. And I don't think that any big university has that approach to, maybe it's called student experience.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Now I got a question for you, Dr. Robinson. We talked about accessibility 100%. How does this work in business school, though? Because in business school, you still work a lot on projects together. I do know this from my own experience. I did an MBA too, but a while back, but I did. And the biggest fun was actually working on projects together with a lot of different students from all sorts of different backgrounds, with all sorts of different ideas. And yes, we had big fights sort of in terms of, whose idea will kind of go through that. But that's part of the thing. That's how you learn the real core of collaboration, right?
Exactly.
So how does this factor in the business school part?
Well, as you said, my MBA was probably around the same time as yours was, so it's been some time ago. However, as we know from the pandemic, we know from business anyway, teams are who get things done in companies. So we have to prepare our students for team collaborations. I have them in one of my strategy classes, a project on presenting their strategy for a startup company. And we teach them how to use Zoom, how to use GoToMeeting, Adobe Connect, all of those virtual meeting tools, so that when students go out in the world of work, they'll know more than just saying, oh, I can use Microsoft Office, right? They know all these tools. they know Tableau, they know Salesforce, and so in other words, they can speak the language of where they'll be working, and I think that makes them very marketable.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk for a moment on return on investment for the students, because I think that's a real big issue, particularly as we are now in a time where when you look at how the salaries have developed versus where the tuition costs are, I mean, for most students, let's be real, I'm a mother myself, I went through this, so with my own kid, it's like, there's a huge discrepancy, and a lot of young people are really struggling in ever possibly paying this off. They might be close to retirement age by the time they actually pay off the regular tuition money that they needed to take out. So let's talk a little bit about the return on investment. How does that compare, Mr. Hanem?
Yeah, for example, let's say for citizen and green card holder, right? We are giving them 50% scholarship if they are taking the class online, right? So let's say $56,000, around $56,000 total tuition fee. We are giving $28,000, right, scholarship, and then another $28,000 can be covered by financial aid. If not, then they will be giving little amount, right? And then we are developing their skill set, and then there is a good possibility of for them getting a job right after their graduation. So this is what. And then for master degree, we are giving again 50% scholarship, and our master degree is $22,600. And then like 11,300, like if they are taking the class online, right? And then right away they will be getting a job because we were developing them such a way that they can get the job. So return on investment is there also.
Right.
And then when international students comes and they are getting the same set of skill development, and then if they want to go back to their country, they could contribute to the company in their country, or they could be entrepreneur, or they can have their own company, or if they want to have a job in here also, they could be a contributor from the first day of their job. So there are so much opportunities are there if they stay here.
What is the ratio of international student to students from the US? Anyone?
Right, actually we did not, since 2008 it was established, we did not have many local student, domestic student. So we are focusing on that right now. So it means, day by day it is increasing
It's
right
growing,
now. Yeah, it's growing.
Yeah.
I'd like to piggyback on,
Yeah.
I keep using this piggyback word today, I don't know what happened, maybe it's Sunday, on the return on investment.
Yes.
Okay, so last year alone, we gave about more than $1 million worth of scholarship. So some students, they get 50%, some students they get 30%, but also look at the tuition fee. As he said, we have 3 IT program, right? The 3 master's degree in IT and 1 MBA, of course with the concentration, whatever, 6, 7. So all of our master's degree programs, they're $23,600. 22? Yeah, $22,600, entire tuition.
Wow.
Master's degree. It's not annual tuition. Entire master's degree is $22,600.
And then first quarter 50% off, and then from the second quarter 30% merit-based scholarship, and with that only $14,000 total master degree if they are not citizen and green card holder, or if they are not taking online, right? If it is online, only 11,300. So this is what you want.
Okay, so now I'm going to put on my business hat for a moment.
So that, and let me flip. Look at the student return on their investment.
Yeah.
So for example, our in June we had our some 15 commencement, something like that. I forget the number. Anyway, we had a commencement, traditional commencement. One of our students, the valedictorian student, had a job in World Bank, Doctor?
The World Bank, yes.
So imagine this student paid probably $10,000 total in MBA. Now got a job in World Bank.
Yes.
So look at the return on the investment.
Let me give you her background. She graduated from George Washington University, more than $100,000 spending, and then she came here, right? And then she did MSIT course, only $15,000, right? With that, she got job in a World Bank.
Yeah, that's
So look at the
amazing.
difference now. You see the differential between the tuition?
Yeah, but that brings up one really important question. So how come WUST is in a position to actually make this possible for students and other institutions are not? That is a big issue.
Okay, well, for us it's easy. Number one, we're a private school. Okay, so by being private school, we don't have a lot of what they call overhead.
So your admin is lower, just
Exactly.
let's call it
So for
what it
example, Dr. Robinson is the director of School of Business Administration, but
Right.
also he is the full-time faculty member there.
Yeah.
He's also advising students.
Right.
All right, so by being a private school, you have the leverage of maximizing human capital. Okay, so otherwise you just fill a lot of people there. Go to George Mason University, probably you'll see 20 people in one room.
And this
Okay,
is
so
kind of the difference of the entrepreneur who's running
Exactly.
a university versus the classic academia who...
You have to be innovative. You have
do.
to be innovative, otherwise you're
And cost
doing
conscious,
disservice.
and really
Yeah.
see how are we actually the
Yeah.
most efficient,
Not
right?
only to survive, you have to be innovative, but also
Yeah.
to do a good service to the public, you have to be innovative, to the student. Otherwise, you're
Yeah.
not doing the good service. You're disserving students.
Yeah.
We're putting them back to the era. So they're not going to be able to grasp the future.
Yeah, and I was going to add to that that all of our scholarships are performance-based, just like they would be in business. So if you did well in 1 year, maybe you get a 3% raise. If you did really great, maybe your raise is 10%.
Yeah.
So we're trying to replicate what business is like
Yeah.
for our students.
Yeah. Rachel, what is on average, can you give us sort of like a range of what are entry-level salaries that students can get that when they leave WUST?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on their degree
I
and
know,
their
but like
concentration.
just give us like sort of so we have an idea.
Yeah, I mean, on average, I'd say
baseline?
students in the bachelor's, graduating with bachelor's, if they do not go on to get their master's, if they go out and work after that, I'd say probably an average of like $50,000 to $60,000, depending also on their certifications, anything else they get. On the master's, you're looking at a much higher range after people graduate with their master's. For IT, they have those certifications, those skills. Like Mr. Hanniford said, you can get jobs that are over $100,000, and you're looking at more of a mid-range to senior position. But other than that, then over $70,000 a lot of the time.
So since this seems like a very practically oriented university, do you have an expectation that people who come to the master's degree, they also have already accumulated some work experience? Or is
That will definitely help.
That would be better.
That
Yeah,
will definitely
that's what I
help,
would
but
think.
it's not part of our admission requirement.
Okay, so it's not part of the
Yeah.
requirement.
But what ends up happening in some of our classrooms, especially the School of Business, we have a lot of military veterans
Yes.
who are coming to
Oh, that's
in the
great.
classroom,
GIB.
and
Yes.
and in fact they become mentors to these students at all. It's one thing for me to advise a student what to do
Right.
based on my years of corporate experience, but it's another thing when you have a fellow student in your class who's a military veteran. Now they bring a little bit more perhaps credibility, real world experience, and so they in fact take over from being a student to then a coach or mentor.
We are working on actually develop the lab, like real life lab, creating the replica of work environment into the classroom
Into the
settings.
classroom.
So this is what we were doing. So it's just in process, and every now and then we were doing it. Plus also we are getting the feedback from the industry people, like what they are doing, 20
Right.
years experience, 30 years experience, and then we are bringing it. Like Dr. Mark Robinson, he has more than 30 years of experience, right?
I
In
would
the
say 25.
25 years of experience. So he is bringing everything from there, from whatever he had done, right?
Right.
So putting together. And then also the people who are working, like 10, 15 years of experience. And we are bringing it and then putting everything into the classroom settings and creating the replica of work environment. Plus also we are working on right now, like Amazon, Microsoft and others, so that we can be part of them. Like they can hire students, skill development people from us to them. And this is what we were working with the industry also.
So this really is becoming, it's morphing into a very adaptive
Yes.
model of a real ecosystem that's kind of like really interwoven with industry right from the start.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Now we talked a lot about skill. Let's talk a little bit about the skill. What do you think are kind of the primary skills that students have when they leave WUST?
So, as our school giving a IT class, just example IT class, we are getting experience about Microsoft and the software engineering. So when they leave from WUST, they are having also technical skills. So they know how to do QA and other things. So because we also have other courses, they are teaching us technical skills.
Okay.
Yeah,
Skill development,
let
let's
me
talk
be
about
trying
that.
on it. So
Yeah.
if you had a chance, probably you looked at our website, you will see school's learning outcome is that in the center we have professional competencies. So we teach them something related to academia. But then if you look at the other area, then you will see communication skills. You will see social and ethical responsibility skills. And then you will see, there was another one. Interpersonal skills. And then one thing we look at it is that during the curriculum design we use Skill USA framework. That's an official framework in America that entire career-based universities, colleges, they're using. What skill-based, what Skill USA framework dictates is that you use that as a sort of like a lens to examine your curriculum. And then you need to focus on 3 different traits. One of them is the IT or technology-based trait, and then the other one is, again, job place communication, and then interpersonal. So when students leave our university, they have 3 different buckets of skills that they gain. One is academic, the other in other words, how to self-discipline, how to motivate themselves, how to ignore the nonsense things and focus on, and then also workplace skills, like your communication with other people, and then your ability to multitask.
And already
like
adapted, as you said, to the modern, so to
Yes,
a digital world.
Right, and one of
it is school learning outcome. So
Yeah.
basically, it's like the blood in your body that penetrates into every single program. So that's the blood giving life to each program.
Right, and I think part of that, as you said, communication was becoming more apparent, not just this year, but probably for the previous 5 or 10 years, is what we call cultural intelligence, right? How do you, if you're a U.S. student, now you're coming into contact with people from all kinds of cultures,
Yes.
all kinds of countries. So if you're a manager or a leader in that company, how can you switch? We call it code switching between cultures. How do you effectively work with different employees from different countries without, saying an incorrect statement or saying something that you might regret later? So cultural intelligence is really becoming, I think, a part of the modern day university.
I was going to ask you about this because I believe you have students from how many different countries?
More than 120.
That's what I saw. So if
different
you have,
countries,
I saw that number on your website. So if you have students from that many different countries, and I know traditionally a lot of U.S. universities, they were more focused in their curriculum about domestic, like U.S. stuff, what was going on, and very little international, whereas when you went to European schools, for example, for us it was exactly the other way around.
Right,
we had like 5% like domestic stuff and 95% was international.
Right.
So
now it's flipped a
is
little
it
bit, yes.
good?
It's flipped. So now we, as if you're a domestic U.S. student, now you're learning more about cultures and how to adapt your leadership style to match what people from those countries are like.
Yeah.
So that you get, as we say, all brains in the game,
Right.
working on a solution to a problem or an issue.
Yeah.
let's also not forget that even U.S. institutions for the last 2-3 decades became more internationalized than they were. Like for example, go to George Mason. I think now they probably have more than 15,000 students. So there's actually an initiative called Open Border Initiative that was created by Obama era. I'm sure you heard about that. These things. So there's an institution there. It's called Institute of International Education. They release these statistics every year. So every year we get more than 1 million students.
Yeah, but I personally found very often in the United States there is still a gap, particularly with U.S. companies, to look a little bit on the broader perspective and look at more international opportunities and so on. And part of the reason is also if you look at how most big companies or corporations are structured, they usually are headquartered in Europe or Asia and have the rest of the world. And then in the United States, they have a U.S. subsidiary which only focuses on the U.S. market because it's such a big market. This is how it was traditionally always structured. And I think this is part of the problem. That's when they also, you've seen that with so many companies, when they then exchange people, they send someone overseas, for example. They had an American, for example, in England. Even in England, it was really hard to work because culturally, even though we assume they speak the same language and they sort of similar, they're not. At the end of the day, they're very, very different. So I think there's still quite a bit of a distance to go to kind of bring this together. And it seems to me, so your approach though, and also probably coming from a different background, certainly has something to add to that,
Right,
right?
and most of
an
these
added
big countries.
value. That's an added value. Therefore, one of our former slogan as a university was diversity creates opportunities. So when you walk into the classroom and Dr. Robinson walks into his class, and then you will see a small miniature United Nations setting. You will have students literally from, I don't know, 20 different countries in that little classroom.
I love that.
So
That's the best
so
dynamic.
basically you have 20 different perspectives. You have 20
Yes.
different roses instead of having one rose.
Yes.
So it is
Yes.
really truly benefiting everybody. As a faculty member now, you get the chance to communicate with you have to feed 20 different roses. So that means you have to have some intellect to be able to communicate, like a what do you call the gardener in a rose garden, right?
Correct.
So if you have
Correct.
more roses that you're able to feed and have them flourish, that shows your intellect. That's exactly what's happening
And
in
it's
our
interesting
classrooms.
when one of the classes I teach is a marketing strategies class. And for many of the 30 students in my classes, I've never been to those countries. So when we talk about marketing, I can really bring the US perspective, but I don't know much about marketing in Singapore or Japan or Bangladesh or India. So even I'm learning about how things work in those countries, which to me makes me more relevant as a professor and a coach and mentor.
Yeah. How long does it normally take for students to find employment from the day they leave to, just on average, like a rough number?
So usually they find it within, I would say, 3 to 6 months. But for our international students in particular, they must find a job within 90 days after graduating to
stay here.
To stay here.
Yeah, I get
yes.
that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that ends up, if we've given them the right tools, then we've set them up for success. They've ended up doing that, and we have a pretty good placement percentage of over 80%. I believe it's 83%. So 83% of our graduates go on and find employment in their fields.
Yeah, that's very good.
I was going to say, even though we have so many digital tools today, right? I'm very big on LinkedIn, and so most of the students that come have never used LinkedIn. So part of my job and other professors is to get them to start connecting online. And in the job market, it's still who you know,
Right.
but social media now is certainly helping that along.
Now we have 3 minutes left. I want to talk very, very briefly a little bit about the future of education, where you see it go in the United States. So any particular thought on that?
Well, definitely, I would say that future of education is like definitely emphasizing on skill development. And that's how we want to create this Washington University of Science and Technology as a role model university with our expert team. So with that, definitely any other university also, come out from the traditional university to this kind of model.
What are the most important skills you think for the future that students need?
Well, as far as IT, everywhere, like it is, as you know, that ChatGPT came, and as a result, now you have to think differently. Now there are so many other skill sets is coming in here, cloud computing and IoT and robotics and sensor-based technology is there. So definitely that is the future. I would say that. Maybe our president can add something.
Yeah, the future of education is that access to information is very easy. So the education should evolve around not giving student access to information, but teach student how to use the information. That's where the focus is shifting towards. So with the ChatGPT, all those technological things, accessing information is very instant. You can use Siri or whatever, say, hey, how is the weather today in XYZ Timbuktu? It will tell you instantly. But what are you going to do with that information is more relevant, more important.
Yeah,
so that's where the education is going, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
And then with these alternative credentials, what we call micro-credential, and then if you can teach students how to use the information and make sense out of that information. Information is there. It will be readily available. It instantly will be available. It's not all there. But the question is, what skill set you need to have to be able to make a sense out of information?
Right. Anything you want to add
I would
quickly?
go along with Dr. Burke. It's not so much that information is easy to find. Now it's all about what do we do with it.
Exactly.
Right. So in the marketing perspective, we have tons of data on consumers now, But now we're seeing a shift in hiring of people who can not only find it, but make heads or tails out of, what do I do if I'm Walmart, or how do I use this information if I'm a large company? Now we need people who can interpret the data, which leads to better decision making.
Any final word?
Yeah, the critical thinking, I think, is a big thing that's we need to focus on developing, and I think all of our classes do a great job. And then expanding, as you said before, the international outlook,
Right.
because with that instant information, we are all that much more connected.
Any final word?
And I agree with all of them.
Good. I do like the critical thinking, and actually on that note, I do want to say thank you for all of you to come on. I do think we actually need a lot more critical thinking to go forward, in addition to other skills. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something. There are different models out, as you just heard, about education. I do invite you to go there and check it out, and give us some feedback, and we see you next week. Have a good night.